Hi there, and thank you for joining me for today's live reading of the Marcy series box set by Linda J. Burson, and this is presented by Itsy Bitsy Book Bits. Book 1, Rage. Chapter 1. Leaving work in a huff has become a regular event. I can feel everyone's perturbed eyes staring at me through the back of my head as I exit the kitchen door of my bakery, coffee, tea, and treats. All my employees are angry with me, but the way I'm feeling, I don't care. I haven't been my sweet self for a while. I'm not trying to be difficult, but the nightmares I've been having are taking a tremendous toll on me. Pulling out of the parking lot with tires squealing, I turn right to head home. I remember I haven't been shopping in a while, so my bare cabinets and refrigerator won't provide dinner. Since I skipped lunch because Sal and I were arguing over what next week's special should be, I'm starving. I make an abrupt U-turn at the next corner, heading back to town to grab a salad and pizza to go at a small pizza place, aptly named Pizza on the Run. As I hit the traffic light before my stop, a car revving its engine pulls up to my left. I can sense the driver of the car staring at me, and the sound of the engine is getting louder. Turning my head toward the irritating noise, I glare at the driver. He's a young 20-something-year-old with a diamond stud in his ear, a large menacing tattoo on his arm, and an ugly patch of hair on his chin. To my annoyance, he rolls his window down and shouts to me, "Hey there, babe, looking fly. Saw that move you made back at the corner. Pretty cool. How about I take you for a few spins in my car?" he says as he gently pets the side of his driver's side door. My eyes narrow as I deliberately turn my head back to the front. "Hey girl, I'm talking to you. You ignoring me?" I continue staring straight ahead. The light turns green and I speed off. The car to my left is attempting to stay with me, but I ignore it. Reaching the pizza place at the edge of town, I make a brusque turn into their parking lot. Thankfully, the obnoxious young man drives off. I'm relieved he's gone because I'm afraid I would have said something unpleasant had he pulled in behind me. As I exit the restaurant with my food, I see my engine revving pest. He's lazily leaning against his souped up orange car, one with the big fancy rims and rear spoiler. He's maybe 5 feet 8 inches tall compared to my 5 feet 4 inch frame, but he does have about 75 pounds on me. Well, there's the bitch who thinks she's too good to talk to me. I calmly open my passenger door and place the hot box of pizza and salad on my car seat. Taking a deep breath, I walk around to the driver's side of my car and get in without even looking at the immature idiot trying to get my attention. "You stupid slut. You think you can ignore me?" "I'm trying, but you're not making it easy." I enunciate clearly so there could be no mistake as to what I've said. Before I can close my door, start my car, and take off, he comes at me, pulling my arm toward him, and then snatches a handful of my hair. He lowers his face to mine. I can feel his hot breath on my cheek. "Maybe I should tame this mouth of yours, babe. What do you think?" The village idiot pulls me farther out of my car in a pathetic attempt to kiss me. I step on his foot with my heel and push him, creating some distance. I get far enough away that I'm able to use a front jump kick to protect myself. When my right foot connects with his mouth, it sends him backward onto the ground. He's still swearing at me all the while. "Stay down, or I'll kick you again, and this time I'll really make it count." In answer, he snarls at me from the sidewalk. "You messed with the wrong woman. I don't like being treated disrespectfully, and I certainly don't like being touched. Now, get back in your obnoxious car and drive away before I really make you pay." His slight frown and tight lips show his surprised face. He forces himself up onto his feet as he wipes the blood oozing out of his nose with his hand. He mumbles something incredibly nasty under his breath before he hops into his car, speeding off without so much as a look back in my direction. I watch him drive away. Another perfect ending to another imperfect day. After dinner, I retire early. Climbing into bed, I slink under the covers. What's going on? Am I unknowingly bringing all this on myself? Is it karma? Or is the universe simply out to get me? All I know is this isn't normal. This was the second creep I've had to hit this month, not to mention the woman I threatened. She deserved it, though. She slammed her shopping cart into me and didn't apologize. Who does that anyway? The other guy I hit may have been more my fault. I stole his parking space, although he didn't have to get out of his car and yell obscenities at me. That's what sent me over the edge. I've got to get a grip. This isn't how I was raised. If my family and congregation from church back home could see me now, they'd wonder what happened to me. It's almost as if I'm wishing for people to do things wrong to me so I can expel my anger. As I fall asleep, all I can think of is a four-letter word: rage. I'm not sure how long I've been out when I suddenly wake yelling from another nightmare. I'm tense and frightened, and my body has broken out in a cold sweat. I can't get back to sleep, but what else is new? The next morning at work, I'm tired and sluggish when I arrive at 5. My restless nights and early mornings are defeating me. When I stroll into the store, it's evident that Sal Malone, my head baker, doesn't want to have a conversation with me. He politely offers me a good morning and continues with his business. This Sal is different from the one I met during my grand opening of Coffee, Tea, and Treats back on May 5th, 2009. The very first day I opened my doors for business, Sal and his wife Rita came into my shop at daybreak, eagerly welcoming me and my business to the community. My store manager Jill and I introduced ourselves. I took to Sal and Rita at once. Their warm and outgoing personalities made me feel as if we've known each other for years. The longer we chatted, the more I learned about the Malones and their life in Cold Spring Harbor. Since my new acquaintances knew everything about the town and the people, I decided to ask them if they knew someone who might be interested in working for me. I wanted a baker, and I needed them to start right away. Sal and Rita simultaneously shouted a resounding yes. Sal flashed a friendly smile and said, "I know of someone, and he can start right now." I was thrilled. Just from our conversation that day, I felt I'd be comfortable with whomever they suggested. These were the kind of people whose word could be trusted. Still beaming, Sal stood. "Well, do you have an apron for me?" My eyes widened. He added, "Nope, I'm not too old, and yep, I know what I'm doing. I was a pastry chef for 40 years in a Manhattan restaurant." I couldn't believe my ears or the fact that the perfect candidate had dropped in my lap. I told him it never occurred to me that he was too old for the job. I was only surprised by his experience and delighted he was interested in working for me. I retrieved an apron for Sal, then hesitated a moment. He looked at me quizzically. "Change your mind? What's wrong?" I paused and then explained. "I can't pay you much, at least to start, and with your experience, I know." Sal stopped me right here. "Little lady, you don't mind if I call you that, do you?" I began to nod assent that I didn't mind, but he ignored me and continued his bubbly chattering. "I'm not doing this for the money. Just ask my wife Rita here. You know, retired people get bored sometimes, and I've been retired for a while. My wife knows I've been looking for something to do for a time, and this is just my cup of tea. Whatever you can pay me is fine." I was excited. I could hardly refrain from giving him a hug. Rita uncovered a grin, appearing as happy as Sal. "Thank you, Marcy Jensen. You made our day. Sal has missed being busy and having a place to go every day. Even I miss helping him as I did from time to time." "Really, Rita?" I asked. "Yep, I used to help him in the restaurant when they were short-handed. That's how we met, working as pastry chefs. I quit when we had our 2 kids and only went back occasionally to help Sal when he needed it." Hearing this revelation, I asked Rita if she'd like to help Sal at Coffee, Tea, and Treats. The spark in her eyes ignited. She admitted she'd love to do it and suggested I call her anytime I needed extra help. I gave Sal and Rita the short tour of my bakery. The shop's not terribly large, but is a convenient size, 1,250 square feet, enough room for 8 cafe tables and chairs, a counter area, and a spacious workstation in the back. Sal dove right in and made himself at home in the kitchen. It was like he'd been working at my cafe for years. Rita kissed him goodbye for the day, shook my hand, and departed with an extra pep in her step. It turned out to be a fantastic opening day for me and my newly opened shop. With Rita and Sal's reputation in town, they brought in a plethora of customers right away who normally might not have frequented my establishment at all. I felt like I'd hit the jackpot. That day, I felt as if everything was going my way, and life was good. It was going to be smooth sailing from here on out. Little did I know how wrong I was and how much my life would change over the next few years. Chapter 2. I'm amazed at how it's already March 2012, almost 3 years after I was greeted by Sal's inviting smile. Today, I wouldn't know it from looking at him. He's not pleased with me. Later, Rita arrives and greets me with a perfunctory smile. She's not happy either. 5 minutes later, oddly enough, Jill comes walking in. I throw a glance at my watch as it's too early for her to arrive. After greeting them alone, she comes over and asks to speak with me privately. We head out through the kitchen door. "Marcy, it's time you and I have a talk. Something isn't right with you, and it seems you've been getting worse." "What do you mean getting worse? I'm tired, yes, but I'm not worse." Yes, Marcy, you are. Your anger has increased over the last couple of months. You yelled at a customer when he couldn't decide what he wanted, for God's sake. Yesterday, you threw two whole pies out because the slices weren't proportioned enough for you. Honey, let me help you. I'm your best friend after all. Something's wrong, and if you don't tell me what it is, I can't help. Jill, nothing's wrong with me. Sure, I could use some extra sleep. You know I have trouble sleeping. I told you I've been getting some nightmares, but I'm sure eventually they'll get better. Marcy, you said that over a month ago, and it's been the opposite. Not only are you not getting better, but everyone's noticed you've been getting angrier by the day. Oh, come on. I think people are being too sensitive. Marcy, even some regular customers have stopped coming in. What about Brad? He must have said something to you. My heart constricts as I remember the last 2.5 years of our perfect relationship. It's only been a couple of months since my anger issues have caused a rift between us. We talked about it, and I told him I'm working on it. Marcy, I haven't seen him for quite a while. He's been busy with work. You know as well as I do, he travels a lot. Sometimes he works at the office late and he can't get here to visit me. Is that why he hasn't been coming to visit? Because of working late? Of course. What are you insinuating, Jill? Nothing, Marcy. I just wondered why I haven't seen him lately. Are you two okay? Sure we are. We're fine, I reiterate clearly. We're still together if that's what you're asking. As I said, he's been busy. She can tell I'm getting perturbed by her questions, so she backs off. She says she's only checking to make sure there isn't anything I want to discuss. I love you, and if I can help with any problem you're having, please let me. I thank her, but say I'm fine. And then she asks if a therapist could help me. Now you sound like Brad. What is it with you people in therapy? What's a therapist going to do that I can't do myself? If I can't figure out these stupid nightmares, how in the world's a therapist going to figure them out? I'll be fine. I just need more time. Jill's the only person who can get away with talking to me like this. We've been best friends almost since the day we met. I've known Jill longer than I have known anyone else in Cold Springs Harbor.